That's
There we go. Like, I flipped over and everyone's faces were frozen, but they're good now. Hello, everybody. We are back from break. When we left our heroes, they had entered into the memory fragment once more to challenge the past form of Hexakali. This time, though, they were not missing the fetishes that had been especially prepared to defend them against the spirit nagas. So they were able to. I think honestly, y'all were gonna decimate that form of Hexakali regardless. You were just gonna go into the next form way more damaged. But holy shit, you guys! The party deftly destroyed the Spirit Naga Hexakali, which triggered within them visions of the actual past, what had actually happened. The sealing of Hexakali's soul, the ritual that turned her into a bone naga, and then also the drawing of a prepared dagger intended to be utilized against the bone naga form of the Sethian scourges. So, after having witnessed the final defeat of the Vrail Olo, as they were unable to finish the Bone Naga form of Hexakali, as Saraketh and Excrutha came to their sister's aid and overwhelmed the Vrail forces. As that all fades from your consciousness, you're shunted back into your bodies, and as that happens, right, all of the memories that were unlocked, all of the experiences that happened, become clearer in your mind. There are a couple of things that you are now all fully aware of.
And how many people we gotta kill?
The jars beneath the altar are indeed the objects that you need to imprison the immortal souls of the Spirit Naga.
Okay.
The way the Vrail did it, the way you now know how to do it, is by burning the black candle upon the altar, placing the jar to be utilized underneath the receptacle of the altar so that the black wax can flow into it. Speaking the name of the individual that you need to trap the soul of.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a cost for such magic.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the Vrail Olo paid it was by requiring a willing sacrifice. Someone gave their life over the altar, cut their own throat over the altar, bled into the receptacle, and sealed their own soul within the soul jar so that they could bind the soul of Hexakali forevermore. That is the way that the Vrail Olo did it. That is not to say that that is your only option, but you now have that knowledge. You now know how that can be done in order to prepare the other soul jars, of which there are 3.
What were the it was hold on. It was
Really need you to finish any sort of thought.
Sorry. The 3 are Excrutha,
Saraketh, and Hexakali.
Yeah.
Hexakali's soul is already imprisoned.
And we have no idea where Hexakali's Mafuba jar is.
Nah, but we don't need to know that, really.
Yeah. We don't really need to know that.
So we only
I have an idea of where it is.
we
and I'm
only
not
need to
excited about it.
prepare jar for Excutha and
Really
Suricap.
suspicious.
How long are the jars good for?
As far as the Vrail
The
Olo were
expiration
concerned,
date.
those jars will last until the world turns to ash.
No, I mean how long? Like once prepared, how long are they good for? Like how? At what
As
period
far
of
as
time
the
do we have to use
Vrail
them?
are aware, those jars are good until the world is ash.
Damn sick.
So once the but that goes in a different direction. Once the ritual is prepared for a target, it cannot be undone. There is no way to scribe the name for an individual and then decide, no, I want to use it on someone else. It's once the name is spoken before the Black Flame Candle, that name is locked to that jar. And the jars are magical, but as you have realized from the memories of the Vrail, it's just a jar. It can be shattered. And if it is shattered, the soul escapes.
Do we know from our new past memories if the jar itself is special in any way? Like if it has to be this glass jar.
It needs to be those jars, yes.
Okay.
You do know that they are special. I think only maybe like the Nightmare Speaker would have been the one that had enough knowledge to really like understand where those jars were from. And even in that situation, I don't think those would have been surface memories for Ezrah to glean. But I can tell you guys, just because I don't think it matters in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But those jars are specially prepared because they are made from the flesh of the High Priestess of Seth, and they contain, each one of them contains one of her 4 hearts. That's why there are 4 of them.
Yeah, she had 4 hearts.
She was an anathema, or an anathema, or a what the fuck, however you say it.
Okay. All right, this might be reaching, and if so, just call me on it. But as the Malison Yuan Ti, who had that dagger that was prepared, I'm going to assume that it was prepared in the device where you stick it in the head and then and enchanted, right? Would I know, or would the Malison know, what the liquid was that imbued the dagger with that sweet -10 to AC?
It was sweet.
Yeah, I think absolutely he would know. It is that which all the Vrail carry. It's the poison that flows through your fangs.
That's why we needed those snake heads. Yeah, all right.
Okay.
The snake guardian bros. Yeah.
Oh shit! I hope they're still there. Or are they Vraiolos though? They were Yuan Ti, I assume, but I don't know if they were Vraiolo.
UNT
fuck
are
They
the
were
Vrail.
sent there to
They're
guard.
one and the same.
From what you've gathered, right? Like the Vrail are just a
assume
specific
that's like a house name.
Yeah, that's just who this group of Yuan Ti were.
Okay.
All right, well, we do it.
The ritual chanted.
Right. So the ritual chanted at the beginning of it all was really more of an affectation of the Vrail themselves, right? The way that the soul jar works is you just have to state a keyword when the creature dies. When the creature dies, you say the keyword, hold the jar open, and their soul will be pulled into the jar.
And the keyword is determined
when you imprint the name upon it, you also give it a keyword, which can be whatever you want, right? In this particular,
just like any magic object.
Yeah, absolutely. In this particular case, it was a single kind of like word, but the Vrail were basically chanting because, I mean, this was their entire lives, right? Like their whole civilization was fighting against these scourges, so they were kind of all in on the thing. So,
Bippity Barty into the Jardy.
If that's what you want.
If you are carrying the jar, that can be your keyword.
Okay. So, you have returned from the memory fragment, which, by the way, as you are all now standing outside of the, the shimmering lights, the wall of light, it does still exist, right? The memory fragment has not gone anywhere. It persists. But you weren't harmed upon being thrown away. When your consciousness was jettisoned, there was none of the psychic backlash of the previous attempt.
Okay. Also, I think we just experienced D&D VR, like Faerun VR.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fair.
Meta has a long way to go.
Okay. You have new knowledge. You have new understanding.
So I had a thought. Ashes, when you touched the altar where the candle laid, that spawned Sethians.
It did. It did.
So perhaps we can extract the venom from the two we've already disposed of for your imbuing of stabby and dispose of those bodies. And if I am lucky enough, perhaps I can cast tongues on myself. We spawn more, and maybe I'm able to convince them that we're here to help, and they offer their services to create the other two jars.
That would be preferable, because I have a feeling that only our favorites among the new generation would be more than happy to offer themselves, and I don't know if that's if I can abide by that.
I have a feeling that many would offer, as they have watched their brothers and sisters die.
Oh, I can also imagine some Black Tongues that were with Yerk also thinking this is a great way to atone as well. So,
however, if we can avoid that, this might be a reasonable alternative.
If we can avoid, so besides, we need them for the fight. I think every abled body is going to be necessary. So yes, I think this might be there might be potential with this.
Yeah, did you see they had more than one cave troll?
They've got a cave troll.
Oh, a cave troll.
Actually, you guys have some you do have experience with trolls.
That's an understatement.
Bring fire!
You do not recognize the type of trolls that you saw in that vision.
Oh, were these venom trolls or whatever the fuck those?
Still, I'm assuming bring fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should probably hoof it back to the temple then.
Yeah.
Those bodies are still there.
Here we go.
Yeah?
Lead the way.
Is that what you guys want to do? All right.
I lead the way.
I mean, I'll just teleport you guys over.
I also don't want to stay in this room just in case a drought army comes out from above.
Out of that particular gate right there. Right up there.
Fuck away.
I wish those motherfuckers would. I wish they would come on out of here.
I was half expecting us to come out to fucking crossbows in our faces.
I was about to say, there's one thing that's never going to surprise me moving forward, and that's just a random troop of drow showing
Random
up.
drow. Oh god. Okay. Teleport you
Suddenly,
guys
drow attack.
over here.
Jeremy, will you be sure to notify us when it's fucking dawn?
Yes.
Because none of my shit's refreshed.
It is.
We rest at weird times.
It is not dawn yet. I think it's not even midnight yet.
Oh, good.
If I'm remembering.
Well,
correctly.
it is what it is.
Check the schedule real fast.
Yeah,
it is probably about 8 p.m. on the 20th right now. Okay, so
Good.
You guys make your way back through the tunnels to the central chamber of the Slither Swamp, where the ruined temple of the Vrail Olo sits. You find there is still that little, guard force with Risk watching the front of the temple, making sure that there are no intruders or anything like that. Do you guys need to talk to them at all, or are you just heading into the temple?
I don't think so. We've been gone like, what, 15 minutes?
Standard pleasantries.
15, 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah, not very long. You come back and you do not look like you have gone through literally anything. Like, because you got...
Man, what a long day.
Right?
Oh, man. Ugh.
Okay. So you guys head into the temple, cross the kind of like watery, sunken nave, and then up the ramp.
Hold on. While we're passing the statue, remember that tooth I pulled out of the... I want to plug the tooth into the missing hole in that statue real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, plug her in.
You plug the tooth into the hole. The door goes...
And locks forever.
And opens.
No, it closed behind us, so...
Yeah.
Alright.
It was an alternative way into the inner sanctum.
Dude, fucking nailed it, bro.
Where did you find the tooth?
We got it from a similar
Ghost
statue.
statue.
Yeah, where the ghost lady was.
Oh, yep. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
Which you guys got very close to finding the first time you were there, but whoever, I think it was either Ashes or Matashtai, was inspecting the statue, and they just rolled poorly and did not find it.
As you do.
As one does. Anyways, you guys head up and into the inner sanctum. The two bodies of the serpentine abominations are still there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got this. I go to Harvest and Venom.
Milk them.
Okay.
Milk them.
You start milking that venom.
I offer to assist him.
Okay. You
I don't think
can.
No, they're not udders.
You gotta squeeze as you're
Fine.
going down, or you don't get an even stream.
You can make.
What are you squeezing? They're fangs.
You can make a
Fucking
survival,
glands, bro.
a survival or a medicine check at advantage with Ezra's assistance.
Oh, that is my bag of holding. I was panicking. I'm like, why is everything +0? Okay.
Those moments.
26. Okay, so you were able to obtain basically the maximum that you can from these bodies. You're able to obtain 3 doses, 3 vials per body, so 6 vials in total.
I was gonna say, what? Don't we need 4 total?
Yeah.
Fuck. No, okay, but yeah, 3
Alright.
each is good. All right.
I mean, if you recall, you have other vials of poison,
Yeah, I got a lot of poison. I'm a poison guy.
but specifically
You're all poisoned
poison
up.
obtained in the Slither Swamp.
Well,
what do
honestly,
you-
let's go ahead and get this taken care of.
From your trophy.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get the Do you have a dagger you'd prefer to have enchanted?
We tested last time, and it seemed like it had to be like a magic dagger, so I guess I'll throw a wind spike in there. I mean, it's the best I can do.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean, I guess I still have that silver dagger that.
Yeah, but that's not magic, brother.
That's not magic.
And no, I don't. I'd probably not. No. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and I just want to get this dagger secured.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Do we know if there's an expiration date on the dagger? Does it have to be within like a day?
It's a
that's a
magic
good
item.
question.
It's a magic item.
Sweet.
It is. So, to your understanding, the individual who was in the Malison's head, you were given an enchanted
Is a good
dagger.
gag.
Oh, maybe I should put in fucking Troll King's Heartseeker then. Because I'm much more likely to actually want to use that.
Was the the nightmare the person who created all this shit? Do I Did I get any inklings of...
No, there's a lot of like differing individuals involved. The Nightmare Speaker was more directly involved because the Nightmare Speaker was basically one of the ones underneath the
priestess.
Yeah. What is
say,
it? How do you pronounce that fucking word? I'm sitting here fucking like...
Which word?
Anathema.
Anathema?
Like, if this enchantment is permanent, this is actually going to make
Anathema.
a very
Anathema.
powerful weapon because
There's
it's
no
minus 5 to
way.
AC.
It probably stops working off this stage.
Yeah, like the messages.
Be my guess anyway. Yeah, whatever. I'll throw a wind spike in there.
Okay. Wind Spike?
Yep, sure hope it doesn't get
Vial,
destroyed
vial,
forever.
vial, vial.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
chunk.
and then 4 of my vials. I'll go down to 2.
Okay.
Hey, while we're doing this, does anybody know what Torbit Balls - Ashen means?
Orbit.
Orbit balls dash.
The smoke
Ashen?
bombs. The smoke bombs.
Smoke bombs.
They had an ashen color
Oh.
to them.
That's there's just notated on my sheet. Just
Damn,
Torbit Balls
Jake.
-
I
Ashen.
thought you legit took his balls.
I don't. That's just what I have written down. I don't know.
Oh, shit. Gotcha.
Steel trap.
All right. You place Wind Spike into the slot within the serpent's mouth. You place
Violent.
the vials, and
Violent.
then step back,
Throw the lever. Kronk.
and the statue
Long lever.
activates. The mouth closes. There is a sound of pressure building, and then you see the vials, the liquid drain out of them into the head of the serpent. There is this as little green mist begins to out of the side of the serpent's
Ezra
mouth.
takes a step back, even though he's already really far away.
And then there's this kind of like loud click, and Ezra, you feel a surge of magic, of arcane energy within this inner sanctum of the Temple of the Braille Olo, right? Like, there is a sudden surge that kind of like raises the hair on the back of your neck kind of scenario. It almost kind of like your vitiligo almost kind of like flashes in automatic response, right? To just so much arcane energy being concentrated at once.
There's just a squeaky little toot that comes out.
And then there is the mist dies down. And think for this. Not really. Oh yeah, I do. And then there is a loud thunk as if something is like unlocking. The jaw lurches forward a bit and then opens down, and Bones, you see Wind Spike is there, seemingly completely unchanged.
All right. I go and get my boy.
You grab the dagger, pull it up. The side that was facing you was completely unchanged.
Mhm.
The other side, as you flip it around, is made of jade.
Hmm.
Damn, Jade boy.
Was your whole dagger made of jade before, or was it just part of it?
You gotta do the other side? You gotta flip it?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Didn't really recall.
You don't really recall. Okay,
As
well,
Bones, as you're kind of like taking this in, and you're like, huh.
Matt, let me stab you. You're
What
immune
the
to
fuck?
poison.
Right? As you're thinking about this, right, as you're like, okay, what's up here? There is a loud crack, and you see the skull of the serpent statue, the head of the serpent statue is riven in two.
All right, well, guess that's gonna have to be good enough. I don't fucking know. Maybe
Well,
we only
shit.
actually had 2 chances at it when we weren't supposed to test it.
Oh God.
It definitely does seem as if, as you're looking at, right, like there's little wisps of like not smoke, but like powder, like stone, that kind of like moves up out of the cracks in the immediate aftermath. right? It
How big of a damage to the statue is there?
It's basically as if the head is entirely split, as if it was a forking serpent's tongue. All the way down in between where the two vials is split open, and the mouth where the tray was is also split open as well. It's barely held together.
So would you say that's like a cubic foot?
You could try to mend it, and it would probably take you a very long time. But you could try to mend it. The statue itself, the whole head is, it's big, but it's not like, it's like 5 feet ish, like, or it's not like a 5x5, but it's like like a 3x3 or something like that. It's a pretty big like statue head. So you could absolutely set about like trying to mend it.
I will wait until we need to mend it before I try. Bones, can I see the dagger just to confirm we were successful?
Yep, here you go.
I look at the party. Don't touch anything except ashes. Get those bodies out of here.
Sure. All right.
Okay.
And then I plop down and begin
the identification begins. Ashes begins to drag the bodies out. Are you just dragging them south?
I want there to be absolutely no visibility between where I put these bodies.
Ashes spins the next little bit, dragging these serpentine corpses out. As you get close, the bullywugs see you, and they kind of like rush up to help you. Risk rushes up to help you, right? So you have some assistance getting these out of the temple. And the bullywugs are like, they're like, whoa, right? They're like, this is crazy.
You fuckers walked in 2 minutes ago.
Holy shit.
What are you doing?
Right? Like, yeah, they're very like, oh, this is crazy. But Risk is kind of like, at this point, he's kind of used to your shit.
By the way. Yeah. Like, they're big-ass swords I'm still holding on to.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, does anyone give in to temptation, or is Ezra allowed to spend 10 minutes identifying?
No, I just chill out.
Okay, Ezra, you are able to identify Windspike. Bones, what does Windspike do?
It was just a +1 dagger.
It is a +1 dagger that has an ability.
Damn, I love abilities.
Once per day, upon damaging a creature, you can reduce that creature's AC by 5 for 1 minute. If it is a Bone Naga, it reduces their AC by 10.
Yeah, that's sick. Let me add another resource.
1 per day.
Wind Spike.
Rending.
AC reduce. Rend.
Rending.
That's better. AC rend.
There you go.
1. And of 1. All right. Hey, in the 10 minutes. Hey, Matt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. You want to see what these ashen balls do?
Yes.
Okay, so we go outside, and I just throw one at him. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna like Ashes is out here.
Are you gonna catch it?
I would like to deflect missile and key point throw it back at him.
I will absolutely allow that. That's really funny. Oh my god. Ashes, you get the second of the bodies out with the aid of the bullywugs and Risk, right? And then you hear behind you back up in the
it's based on damage too.
temple.
There's no way I could possibly make it not happen. That's funny.
You hear this ha! And then you turn and see as there is let me
I say, yeah! He says, yeah! Yeah!
He yells that shit right the fuck
You say
back.
yeah, and I say yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Howdy, partner.
Well,
There's
it's a
in
fun
my
way
boot.
that this works. You hear that hya, Ashes, and you turn and see this sudden just brilliant blinding light. And I need Bones and Matashtai both to roll me DC 15 Constitution saving throws as this flash bomb goes off in Bones' face.
You already hear the ringing sound effect from like a flash grenade.
Yep. Okay, Matashtai, you're able to like, oh shit, like you see the first vestiges of light.
Get it away from me
like,
just in time.
Oh! And Bones, you do too, actually. You're able to close your eyes. So neither of you are blinded for up to a minute.
Nice.
Those fuckers around. I only got 4 more, but
and just for clarity, it's a DC 15 Constitution saving throw. 30-foot or 15-foot radius, right?
Okay.
And there is
a fucking fireball.
There is a save at the end of their turn to resist the blind. So
it's pretty sick.
Yeah.
And it's a high DC too. Damn.
Almost sad that I would have
So
pretty good.
Torbit did not get the opportunity to flash bomb you guys because
he was too busy biting me.
He bit you once. And actually, he didn't even bite you. That was the dagger. Because Matashtai kept fucking stunning him, so he couldn't do anything else.
Hey.
I think he stunned him twice. It was bullshit.
That's a bully.
Fucking bully. And then fucking Ezrah took away his fucking cloak of darkness, so he couldn't fucking, like, cheap y'all on anything there.
Ezrah paid for it.
Ezrah did pay for it, but...
That was a call.
Alright, anyways, so, that happens. Bones, you now have 4 flash bombs.
Yep, already got it not marked.
I eagerly await when the fuck those are gonna get used, because it's gonna be 7 months from now after I have completely forgotten that they exist, and then Zach's gonna be like, I throw one of Torbit's ash balls in their face. I'm like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? What?
I hope he uses it at a time when you've got like a horde coming at us. And he throws all 4, just like sprays them out.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. That'd be really anime, honestly.
Like the nebula attack on your scimitar you have in Dark Souls or Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that is the end of that. I'm assuming after all these shenanigans, you all regroup once more. And Ezrah, you were doing... That was when you were doing the identification on the dagger, right?
Correct.
Okay, so dagger's identified. You now know what the dagger does. What now?
Well, boys, do we try and negotiate and get those other 2 jars prepared?
Hey, does this make my dagger attunement or anything?
The dagger? No, it does not make it attune.
Yeah, there's no way that effect is coming off this floor. There's no fucking way.
It's only once per day. It's not that bad.
I mean, it's going to absolutely annihilate boss fights, but...
So once per day can reduce, or on hit can reduce AC by 5.
It sounds, if it's
also for clarity, so that some people's minds work in a particular way, so that people understand. That is a magical effect, so it can be removed like other magical effects can be removed.
This is a magical effect. Okay. Got it. Noted.
Alright. Well, I really don't want anyone to die to do this. Maybe we talk with, what was his name? Starts with a C.
Crocus.
Ezrah had a plan.
Croatius.
Yeah,
plan?
So you remember the last time I was trying to detect magic and Ashes got antsy and touched the altar and 2 big snake boys spawned? Our understanding is that the Sethians hated the scourges. I have the ability to communicate if I cast a spell called Tongues on myself. Perhaps I can convince them to sacrifice themselves as part of this ritual for their
They did?
fallen.
He's saying if you touch the altar again and 2 more are summoned.
Oh, gotcha.
If it works that way.
Okay.
It's an idea that don't stop. I need to cast the spell before you do that.
Okay.
Bad.
No.
When they spawned, I was only half paying attention for obvious reasons. I would plan to orient the party in a way that is not aggressive. So Jake does not remember where they spawned, how they spawned, so on and so forth.
Yeah, they basically spawned to either side slightly in front of the altar. So if you want to not be in their grill, you need to be either at the back of the sanctum or outside of it. Which is going to be difficult to do if you're touching the altar.
I can't move. I think I'm stuck in a door.
Oh, are you stuck? You're in a wall. There you go. You
door
were actually,
up.
I think, in the door in that particular. Yeah, you were No, you might have been in the wall. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Is everyone ready? This
Yeah,
might do nothing,
Weapons stowed, hands in the air.
Did we close the altar back up?
I believe so. I believe when you guys left last time, you like sealed everything back up and closed the door when you left.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you can try touching on it, see if they come out.
I'm gonna go ahead and pop a 3rd level and cast Tongues on myself. And then I'm going to attempt to recreate whatever the fuck Ashes did to summon 2 giant things on top of my head.
Touch the altar. Nothing seems to happen.
Damn, one and done.
The interaction with Yoastel did describe 2 guardians of the
Said
temple.
If we kill them, use their body. Maybe we just need their blood?
No.
No.
It does not
No,
work
it
that
has
way.
to be a willing sacrifice.
Yeah.
Well, okay, time out. These things very willingly chose to defend this temple, and were very against the Sethian scourges in life.
It said they gotta
Maybe
cut
they
their
were
own
all-
throats.
They have to willingly sacrifice to trap their own soul within the soul jar.
I also want to, for clarity, remind all of you of something that I said. I think multiple times while I was giving this information.
The path is paved in blood.
This is what the Vrail Olo did. This is what the bodies you inhabited know worked. This is their method.
Like, maybe it doesn't even have to be
That's
whatever.
the
Maybe it's their
improper.
blood
There
and
might
just
be
how they
another
knew it.
way.
What if, like, a bunch of willing people is equal to, like, 2 just killing themselves?
Well, all right. So,
Like spirit ball energy over there?
Yeah, like, instead of, like, 2 people giving everything, a lot of people just give a little bit.
Like a little bit of blood here or there?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? We can try any number of things, but how are we going to know that it did or did not work? We know one way that does work, right? So let's say we get all of the Black Tongues to sacrifice, like, several ounces of their own blood, enough to, like, fill the jar or whatever it needs to be done to be done. What kind of signifier, what kind of, like...
I assume the little runes or
like-
whatever light up.
Ezra steps out and calls a bullywug, asking for them to
Damn me.
fetch Izu.
That will
You're
be
gonna
done.
kill her?
They'll go venture to find her and bring her back.
Yep.
In the meantime, I will say, in response to that question earlier, like, what signifier, what proof do you have that it works? The memories of the nightmare speaker would definitely be one way that you know. This black flame candle, right? The candle itself, you guys tried to burn it previously, and it burned. It melted wax down into the receptacles, right? But the candle did not diminish. It did not alter in its size.
Okay, there's also... Sorry,
the
go ahead.
candle is good. The nightmare speaker knows this. The candle was created for this purpose, and it is good for 4 uses. One of those uses is done, and it is that much smaller from what it originally was. So, if it works, the candle should reduce in size to be appropriately, yeah, one more closer to being no longer a thing, right?
All right. The only other concern I have is that when we were explained exactly how the jar worked, is the soul of the person, the singular person that was sacrificed, their soul was in the jar and actually was doing the restraining for all of eternity.
Forever, yeah.
Right. So if we go with the multiple blood sacrifice and no one dies, there's not going to be like a conscious singular soul there to do the holding, right?
There's like a lot of blood cage.
Blood cage! I feel like I gotta do some Naruto hand signs over here. Blood cage!
Let's go ask Yoastel if she wants to, hang out in a vase and
her house was gone like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, maybe now when we know more, she'll be like, oh, yeah, now I'll talk to you. Whatever, I go running over there.
Okay.
Go on.
I'll stay here. Matashtai is gonna go do that. Ezra, Izu is in theory on the way, right?
Yep.
So do you want to remain here waiting for her while Matashtai goes and tries to recruit Yoastel's services?
I'm gonna take time and see if I can, if there's any iconography or anything on there to help me come up with something.
Sure. Roll me. You're just like looking at the actual physical scenarios, right? Roll me investigation. Is anyone going with Matashtai, or is he going alone?
No. He's not going alone. I'll go with.
I'm gonna Sork point that.
Okay.
For a 22, yes.
All right, 22. Yeah, the inner sanctum of the Vrail Temple is covered in Ophidian iconography. There are a lot of what you saw in the memory fragment, what you were yourselves, right? Those representations of different serpentine bodies, different serpentine figures are all over these walls. The walls themselves seem to writhe when you're looking at them out of the corner of your eye. Above them, right, like kind of the biggest of these figures is a serpentine figure with multiple heads, a huge, bigger than the abominations that you fought, right? A huge figure with multiple heads, almost kind of Hydra-esque, but more snake-like. And this figure seems to be wearing religious iconography, right? Like of the various, not just, I mean, you don't have a lot of expertise when it comes to them, but you poked around at a couple things here on this level, right? Like you've seen icons to Dendar, to Seth, right? There are other religious motifs about this person as well. Specifically, though, roll me an Arcana check. 18. The memories that you had as the Nightmare Speaker, they're... I said it wasn't going to matter, but maybe it does. Part of the way that these soul jars were created, right? Part of the reason why the Vrail even had this chance to defeat the Scourges was the sacrifice, willing sacrifice of the anathema that led the Vrail. Her body was used to make the jars. Her flesh was used to make the jars. And each jar contains one of her hearts. With an 18, you don't know how it would work. But in theory, if this anathema is a willing creature that sacrificed themselves for this purpose, and a part of them is already in the jar, you might be able to finagle the ritual somehow into having that creature be the creature holding the spirit within the jar. But you're not sure how you would go about doing that. That's definitely not your area of expertise. And even if you were able to get it to happen, you're not sure that that wouldn't fuck with the rest of the ritual somehow. You're not sure if you could get that for all of the jars or just one of the jars. It's a bunch of questions on something that, like, you like hypotheticals, you like to play around with the concepts, but this is a little out of, not necessarily your league, but this is not what you do as a hobby. You don't play around with soul or blood magic, necessarily.
Question. Just spitballing, right? We didn't actually get the name of the ghost Yuan Ti that we, spoke with, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yoastel?
That's who he's going to try and hunt down.
Yeah, okay. Then never mind. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, okay. I think Matashtai is, which I think after Ezrah, I think after you're doing this right now. You're waiting for Izu. You're inspecting this place. You're trying to figure out, are there dials, are there levers that you can pull for this? Meanwhile, Matashtai and Ashes make their way out of the temple. The bullywugs have moved the serpentine abominations off to one side. You can see the flesh of the creatures is being swarmed by midges and little dark shapes, as well as there's the occasional, like, there are maybe like quippers or something like that, but not a large amount of them. Just a few here or there that are kind of like plucking at the corpses. But you guys make your way past that down to the ruined temple, where the two statues of Seth sit, and where you had met the Yuan Ti ghost, Yoastel, who first told you to seek the memory fragment, to find the ritual within the temple. What do you do?
Yoastel, we found the ritual, but we need some willing participants. Hoping you might know someone that maybe wants to keep some scourges locked away for eternity. Hello?
You hear in your mind, Matashtai, you hear, I don't know if she seemed pretty exhausted after our last conversation. She might have been saving up all that energy just for one chance to see this through. You hear
Yeah,
Belena in
fair.
your mind, right? I mean, if we could do something to call her out, spirits and religion aren't exactly our thing, you know?
You have our party's spiritual leader, Ashes, with you.
She's speaking to Matashtai, not to Ashes.
Spiritual leader Ashes, how do we bring forth a ghost?
Actually, Ashes, not as a spiritual leader, but Ashes as a blood hunter.
Yeah, I was thinking, what things? I guess immediate thing would be like a seance, like a type of like.
I'm going to throw this at you straight up, Jay. What does Ashes know on how to contact spirits from his training in the Order?
Let's see.
Circle. Circle.
I would...
Use your Witcher knowledge, Jay. How do you want this to work?
I only played 3. I don't remember.
That's whatever.
Huh. And I clearly need to play more Witcher.
3 is the majority of my experience as well.
I mean, it's hard to like say for certain, but I would assume that maybe it's like you have an object that was related to the person,
Okay.
or like it's like an actual seance, some kind of like ritual that was likely going like some kind of, I would almost say like almost like divination that could somehow contact the dead or the past or those on another plane or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Well, your ally Matashtai has turned to you and asked if you have any ideas on how to bring forth Yoastel. And that is where you guys are at right now. So if you guys want to explore that further in this exact moment, great. If not, we can come back to you.
Might need to come back.
Okay, we will circle back around. In the meantime, Bones, was there anything you wanted to do while Ezrah was investigating the inner sanctum and trying to see if he can figure out additional things that can be done in regards to this ritual?
No, I'm good. I'm just here making sure you didn't get stabbed.
Okay. About 5 or 10 minutes pass. Izu shows up. With her, just kind of out of idle curiosity, Risk comes, kind of like, flap, 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 flap with his feet, walking up. And Izu, right, like her attitude is just terse. It just is what it is. She doesn't dislike you guys. She's just a terse individual. She's just like, what do you need?
She's got a spider living in her mouth. So,
right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Right.
I start explaining what we experienced, what our end goal is, what they understand in a kind of trying to interpret if there's a religious takeaway or...
Do you tell Izu and Risk about the sacrifice part? Or do you omit that?
That is the last thing I bring up.
Okay.
And it's
because here's the thing. The reason why I ask is because up until that point, Izu and Risk are both like, great, great, great,
Great.
great.
Yep.
right? Because so far they don't see a problem.
And part of it is me trying to watch them for clues
Sure.
or key-ins on their side of things.
Yeah.
And if I don't seem to get that while withholding that piece, and then it's like, well, here's the not the bad news, but here is what we currently understand is a course of action that might work.
So I think, you're looking for some sort of sign or something, but there just isn't one, because as by omitting that particular detail, right, the information that you give them, some of it goes over Risk's head a little bit. He seems, more paying attention to Izu than he is at you, for the most part. But
keep
Izu
your
is
tadpole in its pocket.
right? Absolutely. Izu is just like, enraptured by your knowledge, what you're discussing with her about the memory fragment and what you experienced and what, et cetera, and even the dagger, right? Like, this all sounds great. This is exactly what the Blacktongue tribe needed. This is the path for defeating the Sethian Scourges. There is no downside so far. And then you realize, okay, I have to tell them, because there's no... And you do, right? Like, you explain that final bit. And Risk and Izu both look at each other and kind of like share a look. And then they turn to you and they start to speak in kind of unison. And then Risk kind of pauses and defers to Izu. And she says, "This cannot leave this room. You cannot tell Ask or Cass."
Why? I'm just
Kill
nodding
themselves
along, and
immediately.
it's like, wait, why?
Risk kind of looks at you, and he has this like real sad look on his face, and he says, "Because both of them will open themselves before this altar in an instant, if it means saving the tribe."
One thing to make abundantly clear, there's a whole ritual piece to even making that work, so nobody can just run in here willy-nilly, slit their throat, and...
They both kind of like nod at each other, and Izu says, "Of course, we understand that, but if they find out, they will
volunteer.
press you. Not just volunteer. If they hear that this is the way, they will seek to take it."
It's very noble of them.
It's stupid of them. Their tribe needs them.
It's noble. It is honorable.
She kind of like...
It is not...
She doesn't like your response, but she's not gonna get at you about it or anything like that.
I understand where you're coming from, but you also have to acknowledge their selflessness and respect that for what it is. It's stupid, of course, but it is selfless and honorable in a different light as well. And again, this might not be the only way. This is currently the most clear path, and we are trying to find alternatives.
Izu looks at you and she says, "There is absolutely another way. There is always another way." And when she says that, right? She says there is absolutely another way. When she says there is always another way,
it's immediately
her voice drops an octave, and it's not her voice.
Is the
She's a
spider
warlock.
talking?
No, you see her eyes kind of tint black a little bit, right? And you don't travel with any, but you've heard plenty of tales and perhaps even met a warlock in the past.
God damn it. Fucking voodoo magic.
The telltale signs are there.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
the implication, I think, is
Does
Do
the
the
demon have
eyes-
something to say?
like they
Do the eyes
they,
maintain?
No, they
or
go
do they
back, right? It's
dissipate?
just a momentary, right? Like a surge of passion, right? That creates a small shift in Izu's demeanor for just a moment, right? But the implication right there is kind of clear, right? Izu has done things for power in the
pact.
past.
Yep.
Gotcha.
In her mind, there is always a different path that one can walk. Anyways, I think that's actually a decent time. Has any more thought or decision or anything like that happened over with Ashes and Matashtai? Have you guys been talking about that or thinking about that?
At
Are we-
all.
That's the whole point of flipping back to Ezra and Bones.
I've been thinking.
Okay.
I've
I
been
can't do
thinking-
shit. I don't got spirit shit to do.
All right.
Is that true, Matashtai?
I thought you were a spirit person.
You're the one person.
No.
There's literally a spirit living inside you.
Correct. I didn't
You are-
choose it. I didn't make it. I didn't
I
summon
mean,
it.
you didn't make it, but you kind of did choose it, right? Like Valina.
No.
Well,
No. Corey spirits are passed down from birth.
yes,
Pretty
they're
good
passed.
spirits.
They're passed down by birth. But you've talked about like the moment when you became aware of Valina before, and you two kind of like accepted each other, right? Like,
Yeah.
she would be
but,
there,
like,
sure, but
if I-
but she wouldn't have to be
Like if Matt
present.
sucked as a person, she never would have like made herself available.
Exactly. Or if Matt went down a path that she disagreed with, right? She would just, what's the fucking
Ride along.
Well, I was gonna use the Elven Lord of the Rings term. Diminish. She would diminish and fucking like journey west.
Right.
I got some ideas if you guys don't.
Ghosts count as
the best-
creatures.
The best
I
I
would like
have
a mind link with
is-
it.
is that we may be able to make a connection because we do have something very personal to specifically the Vreolos, and we're currently attuned to them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we have an item, we both, that is, I would say, uniquely tied to the Vreolos. We also have allies, or people close to us, that are basically just magical beings that exist and can speak outside of verbally, like telepathic, right?
Outside of verbally.
Who are we
Yeah,
talking
it's-
about?
Jay, you are taking 8 years to get to your punchline. What is the punchline?
Explaining.
Maybe-
I don't think there's a
maybe
punchline. I think he's grasping.
that. It's definitely that.
but here's the thing. If you feel like you feel like you have an idea of, okay, maybe we can try to do something like a seance with the items, do it.
Okay, I do it.
Okay, what do you do?
He seances, Jeremy.
Walk Matashtai through how Ashes sets up Witcher-esque seance to try to get this ghost to give up the ghost.
All right. Come with me. We're gonna go in here.
Okay. I'm in it. Ashes takes Matashtai into the ruins of the temple.
We'll stand on the either side of the statue, right?
Okay, so there's this serpentine statue rearing forward, now missing a tooth.
All right, whatever. All right. Okay. So, what do these fetishes look like specifically?
So they're bundles of snake bones and what looks to be like lumps of various like minerals, maybe? You're not 100% sure. And there seems to be like webbing of snake skin that kind of like joins it all together.
Like,
roll me, either of you can roll me a perception check here.
I'm quite perceptive. I'll give that a try.
21.
Perception.
Okay, I think maybe Ashes is the first one to kind of like realize it, right? But Matashtai can corroborate it after Ashes kind of like throws out the idea. It's strange. Each of these little fetishes is a bit different, right? Almost as I mean, it's really crude, but it kind of looks like the form that you were in when you were inside the Yuan Ti, right? When you were seeing from them. It's almost as if the bones are and the skin is positioned in such a way to try to like recreate a doll of those creatures. Right? So, differing between yours and Matashtai, right? Like, the top of Matashtai's fetish has, like, a splayed skin and two bones out to the side holding it out, almost like the hood of a cobra, right? Because his individual had that cobra hood, whereas yours did not, right?
Okay. All right. Now we're going to take these fetishes and so you know the way that you attune to an item, right? You know how you focus on it and you know you eventually connect with it, right? Despite the fact that we're already attuned to it, put yourself in the mind state that you're still trying to, like, as if you were going to attune to it, like, and work, right?
Into tuning.
And while we're like doing this, let's see if we can't call out to Yoastel using her or their name. And the ladies, I don't know if they can particularly do anything to assist, but if they could also put out a call on the telepathic channel, that also could maybe assist in getting Yoastel to show up.
Okay.
Okay.
And with that, Ashes closes his eyes, holds out the fetish that is attuned to, focuses on it as if he were trying to attune to it some more, and then starts rhythmically calling out Yoastel's name.
Okay.
I joined him doing the same thing.
Ashes, what are you thinking of as you go through this motion? And Matashtai, you as well.
I will be thinking about basically replaying the fight in my mind of what we just experienced, like the jar, the getting the skit, like all of it.
Matashtai?
I will be thinking about granting the what's their people's name? Not Yuan-Ti, but like their specific
Vrail Olo.
Yeah. The Vrail Olo. I will be thinking about granting the Vrail Olo their revenge and final peace.
Okay. You all are attempting to summon forth a spirit without any concrete ritual or magic with which to do so. This is very much in the style of probably what Ashes would kind of honestly be familiar with kind of like backwater village shamans or elders or shoulder witches, you know, those types of situations where this is done in a much older, more emotional way. This is how magic is done amongst the uncivilized, right?
Hey.
It is though. Like the arcane is kind of like that high magic, that teaching, right? The divine or godly gifts. But there are things in between that are arcane or are divine or are primordial or primal or what have you, right? But you know, there's different ways of evoking magic than the right hand signs and you know, verbal strings of words, and that's kind of what you're trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
Because of that, emotion is an incredibly important part of what you are trying to accomplish. So, I need Ashes to give me a religion check. Don't roll anything yet.
Okay.
Spiritual lead.
I need Ashes to roll me a religion check, and I need Matashtai to roll me a religion check at advantage, because he is evoking the emotional core of what you all remembered Yoastel to be. Your DC... I'm not looking.
Mad.
I'm not looking over there. Your DC is high because you are untrained and you are trying to do weird old ritual magic that you have very little experience in. Your DC is going to be an 18.
You don't even need to look.
Jay
You go
got
ahead
it.
and tell me what it is. You don't even have to look.
Yeah, Jay got it. We're good.
I will burn DM Inspiration.
Oh, that's 16. Oh, that was your perception. Never mind. Oh, wait, did you even roll? Oh, you haven't rolled
no,
yet.
I haven't rolled
You're
yet.
saying right off the top. Okay.
Yeah, I'm calling
Gotcha.
it before I roll. All right. Yeah.
Damn.
Is your +1 modifier from the
It is.
attunement? Damn
It is. It is. It's there.
Oh. You feel nothing as you chant, as you try to envision the need that you have. Matashtai, as you try to envision the anger, the hatred, the rage that you thought you witnessed. You hear every like 20 seconds or so in your mind, Matashtai, you hear, no, not like that. Can you even get angry? Okay, come on. You were literally just thinking about puppies. Focus. Come on.
But it makes me so mad when I can't pet the puppies.
I think honestly, this is actually a good point. Like, I think Matashtai knows sorrow. He knows, right? Like, he has that depth of emotion. But trying to channel someone else's rage and hatred, like, to the point to where all that drived their being was the thought of revenge. I don't think that's Matashtai necessarily. I don't think he can capture that feeling necessarily. At least not now. We'll see in the future. Dun dun.
Wow. That's a fucking threat.
That is a threat. That's a threat for all of you. Fuck off. Ashes, you are somewhat more in tune with what you are trying to do. Right? Somewhat more in tune with the concepts behind it, the limited teachings, right? You are a blood hunter. You all go through much of the same base training, but your specialty is the hunting of your kind. There are ghost slayers for a reason. You are not one of them.
Yep.
Try. You reach out. Try to evoke that feeling, right? You're so close. You followed all the steps. You unlocked the secrets. You're there. Right? You're there. You just need that last little bit. Only Yoastel was here and willing to provide it. But your quest goes unanswered.
All right, I'll pull back. All right, Matt. We're calling it. Oh.
You hear Zalara go, hold on. What's... And you feel a ripple inside you, and then you hear in your voice, or in your mind, Why have you summoned me? And it is a haggard, horrible voice that is just barely holding on. I'm literally giving you a +1 because you said at the beginning, right? You said if Zalara and Valena can be like that telepathic kind of like quest out scenario, and that's actually one of the things that you needed. Ashes, you have a very tenuous connection to Yoastel in this moment. You realize from her voice, from her Zalara acting as almost a conduit, a medium, right, in the moment, you realize from the shakiness of her voice, there is not much left to Yoastel's being, to her spirit. You have limited time to plead your case. Hey,
okay.
It's Frail. How's it going?
Hey, John, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. Okay, so what are you doing?
All right. Realizing how little time I have, I cut to the chase. Don't make flowery bullshit and be like, we have an opportunity to rip away the immortality of Escutha and Sarkatha. Or Sarakath? Sarakath. Okay. We need a soul inside these jars to hold them. We wanted to give you an opportunity to get your revenge and be able to hold one of these souls, or one of the two.
Ashes. I need you to make a persuasion check at advantage.
Oh, I thought that was going the other way.
No, it's up, but don't roll. I want to say the
Okay.
DC first. It is at advantage, because you are appealing to her vengeance, right? The only thing that is keeping her bound to this world, right? That primal need for vengeance.
Guess who's got a -1 to the roll?
I feel you. It is not a high DC because it is something that she potentially desires. Well, not the act of being imprisoned for all eternity, but the vengeance thing is something that she desires. Your DC is a 14.
Or he rolls it. I slap him with a talisman of opportunity in his chest.
What the fuck?
you see right, like, Matashtai, you're somewhat on the wavelength. You're very used to having that voice in your head, right? Like that voice in your head that takes you out of the conversation, right? Or something like that. And you look over and you've been looking at Ashes for like the last 30 seconds, and it's very clear that he's doing something like that, right? Like he's having some sort of conversation in his head, you know? So Matashtai, what does that do?
Yeah,
is that the bardic inspiration, basically?
Advantage.
Oh,
advantage.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, he already had advantage. You don't have to use it.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind then.
That
I
is
take it back.
He takes it.
I real softly peel it back off of you.
Like, that feels weird. What's going on?
Okay.
Gotta focus.
All right.
Double advantage.
14.
That was sitting on the 20.
Good
It was
Lord.
sitting on the fucking 20.
Alright, well, you just killed several of the Black Tongue. I hope you enjoy your life.
You hear in your mind through Zalara in that shaky voice. You hear, I have nothing else. And the voice fades.
Shit. Ash actually stomps around angrily, cursing like around this. Fucking fuck, shit, fucked it up, madam, messed it up.
So like wiping off my talisman, got like weird like dog fur stuck on it now.
Yeah, it's not gonna stick to the next person in the right way.
Quarters start peeling up.
Oh.
Alright, well, we tried. Maybe Ezra came up with something else we can try.
I also think, in the moment, Ashes, for future reference, it's possible that Yoastel's spirit is no more at this point, right?
Like it's bent.
The amount that it took to approach you all in the first place, and in this second calling, right? Like, perhaps the spirit does still exist, but if it does, it might be years or decades before it has enough energy to do anything that a ghost might do, right? If you were a different kind of blood hunter, perhaps you would have a way around that, a different way of, like, you know, approaching the situation, but you are not, so unfortunately, you do not.
It's you respect the die.
Even when it doesn't respect you.
It was a real good idea and an A for effort.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think in that moment, right, like Ashes and Matashtai realize that they have failed in this particular adventure. Are you guys going to make your way back to the temple after that?
Yeah, I think so.
So you guys will be heading back to the temple at this point. We're gonna jump back over real quick as Ezra has had his conversation with Izu and Risk. What happens? Ashes and Matashtai have not yet returned, right? but they haven't been gone especially long. Is there anything else happening within the inner sanctum of the Vrail Olo's temple, Ezrah or Bones? Or are you guys, after the conversation with Izu and Risk, are you guys just kind of waiting for Ashes and Matashtai's return to see how their venture played out? Or do you have something else you want to do?
I've already given the only suggestion I can think of.
What was the suggestion you could think of?
Blood from lots of people.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, the collective rather than gotcha. Okay.
So I'm down for other people to suss.
Has Izu discussed with Ezra her patronage?
No, she
at
is
all?
not. Yeah.
Was Ezra aware of her eldritch?
You've seen her do a couple things here or there. You witnessed the tail end of the
Yep.
exchanges with Zartum, I believe. And even without, right? Like she is, she doesn't hide it, right? Like, in some locations, in some civilizations, that type of power is something to be hidden.
Witchcraft.
Well, it's it's many different things in many different places. Here among the Black Tongues, does not seem to be. Yeah, it is fine, right? Culp, it does not use magic in the same way as she does, right? Like Culp seems more shamanistic, right? But the Black Tongues do not seem to have issue with Izu's power.
I don't mean to pry. But
She looks at you as you say that, right? Anyone who says that is about to pry.
Your benefactor, I'm unsure if you're aware, but they just made their presence known.
She kind of just shrugs at you in like a yeah and kind of way.
I'm aware of this type of magic through my studies. I only know a little, but is there a way for you to communicate with them? And it seemed like they had opinions on the situation, and perhaps you could quest for alternatives. Again, we're in a situation where we're grasping at straws trying to find a better solution.
She seems very kind of like tense and almost annoyed initially as you start speaking, right? Like you said the whole like
I'm used to it.
Don't mean to pry thing, and then she says, but you're gonna pry, right? And so she's initially tensed and annoyed. But as you continue, right, like you see her relax, and she almost kind of like develops a sorrowful kind of like look in her eyes, before like as you end, does the Firebringer grants me power, but I do not think cares about the loss of.
Do I know what Firebringer is?
You could roll me a religion check, or you could roll me a history check at disadvantage. DC is gonna be pretty high. It's kind of obscure. 20.
Whoops.
How about an 8?
Oof. Oof. the hope was there. The dream was alive. You have that kind of like feeling of like, man, I feel like I've read that somewhere, but
You know, if I would have just rolled religion with that die, it would have been
it would have been actually would have been
21. Yeah.
Sometimes it do be that way. Sometimes you gotta trust in the heart of the not my skill.
Religion isn't Ezra's thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So
So,
no, nothing on there. Okay.
No ringing a bell off of that one. No.
Cool. Well, hopefully Matt Nash's have some success. They should be back shortly, I would hope.
And as if right on cue, you hear splash, splash, splash coming up the nave behind you as Ashes and Matashtai return triumphant.
Alive.
Alive from their seeking out Yoastel. So the party is brought together once more. Who wants to be the bearer of bad news on which side?
I think our side went fine.
Well, fair enough.
Well, we were able to get a hold of Yoastel, but I believe her spirit was spent. She's no longer here.
You killed her?
No.
He murdered her.
No, I didn't know. It was her time.
Wow, it was her time.
I
just went to live on the farm, Ezra.
I did offer the opportunity to reside in the jar to, hold, one of the two remaining there, but she wasn't even able to really reply. She just
she was just too weak.
Evaporated.
Well, hopefully she's resting in peace. Wow.
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 Alright, anyways.
I bring Ashes and Matashtai up to speed that I have filled in Izu and Risk to up to this point the information we know and express her immediate.
You don't even get to
decree.
Right, like the beginning of the conversation starts right as you are trying to bring Matashtai and Ashes up to speed, and Izu interjects and kind of like marches up to Matashtai and Ashes and looks at both of you and just like, Cass and Ask must not know about the sacrifice.
Sure, absolutely, completely agree with that. They won't know.
And she gives you that kind of like, when she gets out of your face.
Izu, do you think Culp would have any insight into these types of magic? I know you and him have some differences, but and he seems to be the elder of your tribe.
Yes.
If this decision falls on anyone, shouldn't it be him?
She and Risk both kind of like, they share another look, and she says, How would she express that? She would say, in her croaking, very serious voice, she would say, Culp is a good shoulderman, a good voice for the tribe. But he is old. He has seen much. You realize Izu and Risk are kind of like banding around it, and she just kind of like shakes her head. Like and Risk puts a hand on her shoulder, and Risk says, "It is best no one in the tribe knows." Izu speaks up. She says, I do not think Culp will have knowledge that can aid you. Romenos is... She kind of rolls her eyes after she says their god's name, right? Clearly not a fan. He is an absent god. Culp's power, his ability to even do what he can, is because of who he is rather than who he prays to. I do not think we'll find assistance from him accepting the willingness of an old man to give his life for his tribe. I fear that is all you will find from any of our kin.
It is understandable and respectable. It worries me that I feel like our only alternative for information is for us to head to Dwermacorth then. But that leaves...
Izu kind of like narrows her eyes, right? Not in kind of like not angry, but kind of like in the suspicious, distrustful kind of way, right? She says, "The mage's place. They have not been kind to us, but perhaps there is knowledge you can see there. And if not," Gunna shrugs, "are you not from some great place? There's not knowledge that you can find there."
Not for something like this. This blood magics and soul magics, a lot of that is forbidden in the civilized world.
Like, it's the whole thing.
Civilized.
Yeah.
There's a whole damn temple of them practicing blood and soul magic right now.
Who?
Ashes his motherfuckers.
We do use blood magic.
No, okay, so yes, but no, right? Like blood magic is the utilizations of the blood hunters, right, are almost all internals, right? Like they utilize their own blood in order to affect a creature. I think the way that Ezrah is talking about in the concept of blood magic is the idea of like blood sacrifices, right? Like, soul magic and gory sacrificial blood magic, right? Like that kind of concept.
You don't. I mean, like, you don't think that like might have come
That might,
before the more refined version that he practices?
So there are.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
There are potentially the concepts for connections there, right? But like, I think the point that's trying to be made there is that, like, you could go to the Temple of the Moon and see if they know anything. Absolutely, surely, right? But the expectation that someone like Taverin, for example, is going to know about blood magic because they're a blood hunter is, I think, a disconnect, right? Like, you'd be better served trying to find necromancers for stuff like that, right? Like,
we know a necromancer.
Sure. Yes, right? But that goes more to Ezra's concept of, like, going to Dwemercore rather than going up top, right?
I mean, we can still, like, kill the Queen of Bones before we leave. Also,
you guys can do a lot of things before you leave.
But that then opens the path for the rest of the Scourges to harry the Blacktongue Dread. Currently, she is a barrier, is my understanding.
She's not like she's not like a perfect wall, but she's as much annoying to them as she is to the Blacktongues.
So killing her opens additional threat.
We can go like annihilate their army. Guerrilla tactics, kill their army.
Options.
We could try the we could try the blood of many. Like, I think that has a chance.
You guys aren't willing to sacrifice two of you for this?
Yeah, I'll kill myself. Start up the candle.
Okay. I've actually been waiting since we talked about this for Zach to just be like, I'll kill myself, let's go.
$1 million baby
I made myself right now. Yeah.
I've been waiting. I gave you a perfect opportunity to talk about $1 million babying yourself.
Oh, speaking of, no spoilers, but have you guys been watching The Boys?
Jesus, shut up now.
I'm still in season 2.
Yes, I have.
Have not made it that far. No.
Do you want to talk vaguely about what you're trying to speak of?
I think you know.
I'm not sure that I do, actually, but...
All right.
I've been watching it.
I don't know if maybe starting a fight with the Scourges and then calling a timeout and leaving and coming back later is going to be a great idea.
Sure.
I mean kicking the hornet's nest and then walking away is a bad idea?
I think for clarity, Zach's not talking about, like, attacking the Scourges themselves, but seeing if there are opportunities to, like, from what the Blacktongues have described, they have many minions, right? Like, Zach's talking about the concept of, like, potentially winnowing those minions down so there's less of a threat to the Blacktongues, right? But again, those are just options. So
yeah, nobody collects a shitload of minions if they want to do stuff themselves. Just saying.
So
this is in character, by the way.
Yeah,
completely in character.
Yeah, fair enough. It is at this point, I think, that risk steps forward.
You're not allowed to kill yourself either.
I'm assuming that was in character.
Absolutely it was.
I second that.
I have many fish to catch. I do not plan to go anywhere. Seek your knowledge. You have reunited the tribe. We have weathered the Scourges for this long. The new generation stands united. That Lal is with us. We can weather more. Seek your knowledge and return to us. And then he kind of sighs, right? And he turns to Izu and he says, if it's saying to you, right, but looking at her, if your quest for knowledge is fruitless. And Izu kind of like starts to tilt her head and shake it slightly, and nods at her. There are no other avenues for power. Then we will allow the tribe decide what it believes is best for it. And you hear in Risk's voice. He is making a statement. He's not asking a question. And you see Izu take that, and she is not happy about it. She shoulders her way past Ashes and Matashtai and leaves the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what might be a look of heartbreak on Risk's face. Nods to each of you. Thank you. You brought me home. I know you will do what you can. If you are successful, then there will be many more days of happiness for the tribe. And if you aren't, there will be many more days of happiness for the tribe. Just with 2 fewer faces.
We'll figure this out.
He nods to you.
We always do.
Sometimes. And I think that is where we are going to end tonight's episode on that heavy note.
Ooh.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time for more Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.